Now to take us through their selection of the newspapers, comedian Tiffany Stevenson and city trader Michael Jarman. Welcome back to both of you. Starting with this considered piece in The Eye, what it means to be a black American in 2014.
Yeah, pretty good article actually. It kind of encompasses everything, obviously, what's happened recently with Michael Brown and Eric Garner. It basically talks through the fact that America, on the surface of things, looks like it's making progress. You've got the first black president, President Obama. He's got black serving politicians in his cabinet as well. But then if you read between the lines and start to look under the actual surface, you start to read things like out of the top 500 companies, only 10 CEOs are acting as black chairmen. In the 500 billionaires Forbes list, you've only got Oprah Winfrey and Michael Jordan, so there's only 2 black billionaires there. And even in the US Senate itself, there's only 2 senators that are black. I think a lot of this comes to the fact that, look, the great thing is that we can have open discussions about this now on air. There is big movements happening and protests happening in the States as well to kind of bring to the forefront that they are saying that, you know, some young blacks within America and maybe even the UK don't feel like they have a place necessarily in society, and they don't know where they don't know where they necessarily stand. I'm all for the fact that, you know, we need more open discussion on it, more open debates on it. I know we were just speaking for the best part of, what, 20 minutes on the fact that, what was it you said about...
Chris Rock is a great commentator on this. I actually tweeted, he did an interview with Frank Rich for The New Yorker, and he said something which I thought, when his logic is flawless, is flawless. He said, to say Obama is progress is saying he's the first black person that is qualified to be president. That's not black progress, that's white progress. There's been black people qualified to be president for hundreds of years. You know, so there are small steps happening, but people feel possibly not enough. And we have had situations where, you know, like George Zimmerman, who shot Trayvon Martin, was allowed to go sort of campaign on a gun trail in the States after he was acquitted, going, this miscarriage of justice. And it was like, you were found guilty, you idiot. What's the miscarriage of justice? That you,
I mean, I think on the surface, you're right, there is this impression of this melting pot and everything ticking along very nicely, thank you very much. But really, when you dig a bit deeper, perhaps not that much has changed in terms of race relations in America.
The Eric Garner situation just absolutely fascinates me. I cannot believe that there is video evidence of a police officer who is rugby tackled via the neck, an unarmed man. That man happened to be black, obviously, for doing whatever wrongdoing he was doing. And the man has said on a number of occasions, 6, 7, 8 times repeated, "I cannot breathe," which has then led to his death. For then where was it, Staten Island, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like Copland. I don't know if you've ever seen that film Copland, where you feel like they're closing ranks to protect each other for a shocking crime.
The officer's not been indicted. How has the officer not been indicted? It's in plain vision. There was one on Facebook the other day that cropped up on my timeline where a police officer, someone had been pulled over for, I think it was a speeding ticket. He refused to step out of the car because he had his kids in his car and he felt like he wasn't protected. The police officers smashed the window in, tasered him with a stun gun. His kids are in the back crying. It's all on... Thankfully, I don't think the police in this country are anywhere near as aggressive as the police in America, but this is definitely a wake-up call.
Well, they're not armed, are they, for starters?
No, exactly. And the fact of the matter is if you are armed, you surely have been trained as a marksman to know not to hit any vital organs when you're shooting at someone.
But the laws in the US are quite lax, aren't they, when it comes to police officers? Because if they feel that they're under any kind of danger, then they have the right to just kill someone, and they could choose to kill them.
But why don't they employ tasers? That's what I don't understand. In you know, many of the instances, why wouldn't a taser?
This time they didn't need a taser on Eric Garner, did they? I mean, they didn't even have any form of weaponry on them. He literally just rugby tackled him and decided to put him into a choke hold and said again that it was his line of duty to do it.
Yeah.
And where's the accountability for it? I think more needs to be looked into this. Look, there is progression. I'm not going to sit there and say that, you know, things are perfect and things are as bad as they could be. But when you get situations like this, and it's happened now frequently over the past couple of years, America need to really take a look at themselves, and we need to ask questions as well.
The positive thing to come out of this is that Americans, black and white, are protesting and want answers.
Yes,
so,
correct.
Yeah, people are standing up. That's the great thing about the internet. It's the great thing about, you know, a lot of the social media. There's many downsides, but actually people are having their voices heard for the first time. You know, people in recent history, people are really being able to get behind things, saying we want to be heard, we're speaking up, we're shouting out, and this is not acceptable.
And these protests have been mainly peaceful, which is good, because they're really getting their message across that way.
Yeah, but even though there's been sort of skirmishes at those, we saw some of the footage from earlier on where people are being wrestled to the ground at peaceful protests.
It's because they won't disperse. That's why they're being arrested, because they won't leave where they're protesting. The police have asked them to leave, and all of a sudden they're being arrested.
But their voices are being heard, and their presence being felt. Let's move on to something completely different. Shock revelation and a weather story in the Express. An Arctic blast is on its way.
Weather! I love this. We do this every year, don't we? People go, is it snowing? Is it snow? You see on Twitter, is it snowing? I don't know. Look out the window. You will see if there is snow. It's almost like we have nothing else to discuss. We're obsessed with the weather, aren't we?
And it never snows on Christmas Day. That's what we always want.
Well, apparently they're saying that the odds have been slashed for a white Christmas, but more than anything, I mean, as nice as it is, you always kind of worry about how we're going to cope with it. I was in New York last year, actually, when they had the polar vortex, and they seemed to be way more organised. They were like, don't panic, New York. We have salt trucks rolled out across the city. And here...
Was that Rocky Balboa?
Yeah, it was. That's an amazing impression. Thank you. I'm glad you noticed. But like what happens here, we know for about 6 weeks it's going to snow, and then on the day it happens, they go, we run out of salt. Just run out of salt.
Get ready. We knew it was coming. It happens every year. Now, Michael, this story is right up your street.
Yes.
This is introducing children to the markets.
Yeah, I love this. I think this is absolutely fantastic. So teenagers basically, as of next year, there is basically what's happening at the moment in the UK is there is a math gap, or a gap fill that they're trying to bridge, because there's too much of a dropout happening at the moment between GCSEs and A-levels. So at the moment, when you move from GCSE maths to A-levels, there is only, I think, 20% of our students are taking up the A-level. Compare that to some of the other countries across the world, Japan, Czech Republic, it's about 50 to 100%. So what they're trying to do is bridge that. The only thing is, obviously, as we know, if I was to go and take an A-level, the first thing I think of is maths, formulas, Pythagoras' theorem, don't want it. So what they're doing now is they're deploying real-life situations and scenarios,
they can
mortgage calculators, learn how to invest in the stock markets. You can actually practice what you preach. They're doing things like economic modelling and the impact of demographics and population growths.
All practical stuff.
Yeah.
Well, teaching teenagers how to calculate a mortgage is very handy. They just have to teach them how to save up for one.
Yes.
On that note, we're going to take a break, Michael and Tiffany. Just to let you know what's coming up, who do you allow to decorate your tree at Christmas?
Jägermeister. It runs deep.
5 years ago, I was running the family's petrol station. My sister Mel said we were in trouble because we were selling more sausage rolls than petrol, which got me thinking, what if I turn it into a diner? So I went for it. I spoke to Lloyds Bank because I'd heard they approve 80% of loans. Then they said yes. Mel says it's going great now, even if the odd customer still comes in expecting a sausage roll.
Lloyds Bank, for the moments that matter.
With age, we get better at lots of things. We take more risks. In a word, we improve.
Vitalif 5 from L'Oréal Paris. One step, 5 actions to target wrinkles, firmness, dryness and discomfort.
Skin feels smoother, firmer, and looks revitalized.
Vitalif 5 from L'Oréal Paris Men Expert.
And now, give his skin some ding-dong this Christmas with the perfect grooming gift from L'Oréal Paris Men Expert.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
I started serving Albert Bartlett potatoes almost a dozen years ago, and I still do.
Albert Bartlett, they do more.
Introducing the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. the world's first four-wheel drive plug-in hybrid SUV. The fusion of electric and petrol technology could achieve a staggering 148 miles per gallon, and with a fraction of the CO2 emissions of even a conventional small car. Paying road tax is a thing of the past. We haven't just made an SUV, we've made history. Mitsubishi Intelligent Motion.
Premier Kinetic from Seiko.
Taking you to the slopes. The Sky News Snow Report, sponsored by EasyJet.
Hello there. Finally, it's turning colder across the Alps with some light snowfall expected this weekend across Austria, France, Italy and for Switzerland as well. Skiing is already on offer, but only in the highest alpine resorts, as it has been too mild recently for lower levels. On the highest piece, though, ski conditions are now mostly good. If you want more information across all the European ski resorts, you can find them online as well at skynews.com/weather.
The Sky News Snow Report, sponsored by EasyJet.
Still taking us through their selection of the newspapers. As you can see, they're chatting away in their own time. Stephanie Stevenson and Michael Jarman. We're on air now, guys. Right, starting with you, Michael. This is the decorations. The parents, the wicked parents that allow their children to mess up the tree and then they rearrange it.
Well, let's read the opening paragraph. Putting baubles, tinsel and the fairy on the Christmas tree may be a family affair, but a third of mums admit they redecorate it after their children have gone to bed. Shame on you. Wherever you are, shame on you. I think this is... Look, you know...
Come on, there's a way of doing it. The big baubles go at the bottom, the medium ones in the middle and the small ones at the top.
Well, to me, you know, I'm looking at it thinking, you know, it's all about capturing the child's imagination. And families are so proud of their Christmas trees now. And
well, exactly. You don't want it looking a mess, do you?
Let the child
by some child.
The child won't notice anyway. They'll be playing a game or something.
You know what? They are so intelligent now these days. I think if you've got a child above 5, 6, 7 years old and you send them to bed after they've decorated it and you start moving things around the Christmas tree, they're going to come downstairs.
They're probably so clever they'll be looking for an app on how to decorate the Christmas tree.
Yeah,
right, I've just got time for this quick one. Also in the Express, same page. Strictly, what's happening?
Oh, they're saying that strictly speaking, the best never win. So they've looked through the stats of who's got the best scores over the series, and statistically, the best ones don't always win, which says what I've always known: we love a trier. It's not about being amazing. We love people who improve over time. We want a trier. We don't want to show off.
But Alicia Dixon, I thought she was fantastic. She did win, didn't she?
No, did she win?
Didn't she win?
She did. You know, I thought
she did. She did.
Yeah, and then she went on to be on the panel, didn't she? Yes.
Yeah. But poor old John Sargent, he pulled out because people kept voting for him because he was so bad. Do you remember?
Boycott.
Yeah,
Boycott.
Yeah, you would have loved to have seen him in the final, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah. No, we do love a trier. Michael and Tiffany, thank you very much for taking us through the papers this morning. Thank you. Let's see what's happening with the weather now with Naz.